With a new expansion to Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns fastly approaching us, the guys over at ArenaNet gave us the chance to have a look at the new class during their most recent beta weekend. The Revenant class will give players a brand new way to play through the game, as it embraces a new combat style combining that of a stereotypical assassin and mage. How devastating and gratifying does it feel to become this new terror of death? It's time to sheath our swords and find out. So first things first, in the beta we were able to create a level 80 character and able to explore the new area of the game, the Dry Top. This area is home to a bunch of new enemies and threats which are perfect for us trying out the new devastating abilities of this class. And for the sake of this, I went as my favourite race of the game, the Char. We were also equipped with some very nice level 80 gear with 2 switchable weapons, being a hammer and a pair of swords. This gave us a chance to have a look at 2 different weapon combos and see what use they have on both the solo and team level. With that said and done, let's cut to the chase and go over the meat and potatoes of the new class. The Revenant's main focus is around their stances. These stances completely change the ability setup that you have on your character from abilities 6 through 0 on your keyboard. First off, you have the legendary assassin stance, which allows you to channel the power of the legendary Shirotagachi. This gives you abilities centered around attack speed and damage per second, as well as some mild crowd control capabilities. This is the ideal stance for you players that love to jump in and slash away at your opponents. It is also good to note that this stance comes along with some life stealing capabilities, which is another incentive to go into fights like a crazy man. The alternative stance is known as the legendary Dwarf stance, which channels the power of Yalis Iron Hammer. This changes your ability set to a more crowd control orientated playstyle, making it so that you can debuff enemies and keep them in check whilst also having some healing properties for your allies. So here's a full overview of the ability set for the legendary assassin stance. Your number 6 will be Enchanted Daggers, number 7 is Riposting Shadows, number 8 is Phase Traversal, number 9 is Impossible Odds, and 0 is Jade Winds. Now with this stance you're going to have a lot of DPS when in the middle of battle. You will quickly be taking down solo opponents whilst systematically being able to take on multiple. Enchanted Daggers are extremely handy for restoring your life in combat as you receive damage from foes, and also synergizes well with Jade Winds so that you're able to lifesteal without immediately losing it by turning all the opponents around you into a block of jade for a period of time. Riposting Shadows is also a magnificent way of removing debuffs on you whilst also creating some space between you and your opponents. However, after using this ability, try using Phase Traversal immediately after to jump back into the fight. If you feel as though the fight is tougher than you originally thought, however, activate Impossible Odds before heading back into the fight so that your DPS goes through the roof. This stance literally feels incredible as you are cutting foes down to nothing. However, in the beta they seem to synergize the best with the dual sword weapons we were given. Here's a short overview of the skills you have with the dual swords. On 1 you have Preparation Thrust, which then combos into Brutal Blade and then Rift Slash. On number 2 you have Precision Strike. Number 3 Unrelenting Assault. Number 4 Duelist Preparation, which you can then activate again to activate Shackling Wave. And number 5 Grasping Shadows. Now it is crucial to note here that in order to use your abilities from 2 to 0, you must have enough resource in order to use them. You can tell how much resource you have via the bar above the 1 to 5 abilities. You can fill up this bar with your standard combo attacks from your 1 ability. So in combat, you'll be relying on your standard combo to keep building your gauge. Then you can unleash pain with Unrelenting Assault in order to deal a great amount of damage to enemies while strengthening yourself for your next attack. Precision Strike can also assist greater if you are going down more of a condition damage build, whilst Grasping Shadow is a powerful skill to single out a target that may be a nuisance to either you or even an ally. To see a defensive ability such as Duelist Preparation on dual swords is incredible for this class. Using this at the right moment won't just save yourself, but could also surprise enemies with some great damage as a result of Shackling Wave. With all this said about both the dual swords and the legendary assassin stance, what could be expected from the legendary dwarf stance and the hammer? Well, first let's have a look at the dwarf stance abilities and see what they bring to the table. On your 6 you'll have Soothing Stone. 7, you'll have Inspiring Reinforcement. 8, you'll have Forced Engagement. 9, you'll have Vengeful Hammers. And on your 0, you'll have Right of the Great Dwarf. You can already see that the abilities here are a complete contrast to the legendary assassin stance. These concentrate more on healing yourself as well as debilitating your opponents, and even taunting them into concentrating on you, turning you into a pseudo tank. If you are taking on a lot of debuffs from fighting enemies, turn it against them at the right moment by using Soothing Stone, so that you won't just regain health, but you'll also be coupled along with a powerful buff to help you out. Inspiring Reinforcement is a very cool ability to see used as you watch the path being built on top of your opponents. Remember, however, that once it is constructed, you and your allies can get a nice buff from it to assist in the middle of battle. Forced Engagement is great to get the aggro off of one of your teammates who may be struggling and to turn the concentration to you instead, potentially saving their life. And once they're aggroed on top of you and they're too close to you, why don't you activate Vengeful Hammers for a great way to deal damage to both them and maybe some other enemies that are very close by to you. However, do not forget to bring out Right of the Great Dwarf, either in a tough battle or a losing one, as this could turn the tide of your entire team and assist low health characters regain their health back via lifesteal or healing. Why is this? Because Right of a Great Dwarf literally turns you and your allies into stone, blocking any and all damage that is sent your way for a limited period of time. Now, as the dual sword suited the assassin stance a lot more, the hammer seems to suit this stance a lot better as well. Let's have a look at what the hammer will give you. Your number 1 will turn into Hammer Bolt, number 2 will be the Coalescence of Ruin, number 3 is Phase Smash, number 4 is Field of the Mists, and your 5th ability is Drop the Hammer! The abilities with the hammer take a good little while to get used to, but are great at keeping individual or groups of enemies in check. Do not think, however, that you are a fully fledged tank when using the legendary dwarf stance. You are actually quite squishy, just as squishy as you were if you were in the assassin stance. So think of using your abilities as a way of a pseudo tank where you're just taking aggression off of your allies where appropriate, rather than taking the aggro from everyone at once. Also keep in mind that with the hammer and hammer bolt, you'll be a ranged character this time around instead of a close quarters character, which is especially useful when you're using abilities such as Coalescence of Ruin to deal a straightforward area of effect boom to your enemies. Phase Smash coupled with Drop the Hammer are both great area targeting abilities that can be useful on enemies targeting allies, or even a great way to start off a fight. Now, when it comes to Field of Mists, in comparison to Duelist preparations with the dual swords, it's not as good. It's very situational, as it will only block projectile attacks. However, you'll be very thankful when at the right moment against the right foe, you could just bring up this wall of flame and suddenly no projectiles will damage you in any way whatsoever. A perfect chance for you to use your aggro capabilities for those targets to concentrate on you, since you will receive 0 damage. Overall, it was an amazing experience trying out the new Revenant class in the Heart of Thorns beta weekend. The class truly does bring a new life to the playstyles in the world of Guild Wars 2, which is great for both new and old players alike. The stance switching capabilities also adds an interesting dynamic, as you could decide to dedicate yourself to just one, or switch out on the fly mid-battle to suit what the team needs. It combines the life stealing and DPS capabilities of assassins with the crowd control and area of effect damage potential of mages to create something truly unique. I know us lot are desperately waiting to make ourselves a Revenant and level all the way up to 80 and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed this quick little preview of the Revenant class in Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns. I'd like to thank the guys over at ArenaNet that were able to give us access to the beta weekend, and we hope to give you guys some more details on Heart of Thorns as we are able to play more of the beta weekends and just play the game in general. Be sure to keep an eye out on more articles coming your way on videogamesuncovered.com, as well as here on the YouTube channel for any videos that we will punch out involving the game as well. Until next time, ladies and gents, I'm Dom the Expert of Calls from videogamesuncovered.com, and I'll be seeing you guys on the other side.